Hello, this is You've Got an Hour. Oh, this is You've Got an Hour with Adam Griffin, and today's very special guest is the illustrious one and only Beyoncé. No, it's not fucking Beyonce. Are you kidding me? I can't afford that, and she is not listening to this. Oh, but what I am giving that Beyonce's not is visuals. Oh, no shade, just a little smile with that. I am now doing video. There's going to be video segments for the podcast. So if you go to my YouTube for You've Got an Hour, you can watch the front half of the episode because guess what? We're also reformatting. Due to popular demand, people want to hear more from me, and I'm so glad you do because I have a lot to say. So the front half of the episodes are majority-wise, unless the topic is needing a whole hour, it's going to be me in the front half. Buckle up. Here we go. And also, thank you, Beyonce. Everybody's thanking you at all these award shows. And I guess I should, too. I don't know. I don't know if the Illuminati's going to come get me if I don't thank you. I love you a lot. I actually genuinely do. Cut me off and just do the dial thing already. Thank you. I want to talk. This week was kind of crazy, and this is one of the main reasons that I'm actually not having a guest in the front half, is because I'm going to use something that I had shelved. Love the guest that's on. They're amazing. But I wasn't going to use it until like the new year because I had so many episodes planned out. I thought this week needed a different tone. I'll just say that because what's been transpiring this week has been kind of difficult to grapple with. I spent most of Saturday completely off the grid. I totally logged out. And I think honestly, this is something that I'm going to start doing more is like just not checking out, but checking in to myself and logging out because I felt so overwhelmed by everything I was reading. All of the fear that we're all feeling and expressing is so valid, and I hope that we're wrong on all of it, but I don't want to be engaging in that in an overwhelming way. I don't know if you feel this way, but I just sometimes feel like I overly indulge in whatever emotion it is that I'm feeling at the time. And this was a case of that. You know, Saturday just cried my little eyes out and then would stop and eat something and then cry my little eyes out again. And thank God I got a weighted blanket. So that was like really tucking me in good. By Sunday, my eyes were so puffy, I could barely see out of them, but I felt so much better. I felt so relieved. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, I highly recommend that you cry in an appropriate place. I don't mean like just like go stand outside and like cry for all the world to see and to judge. Although if they're doing that, F them. Today, we're going to do something fun. I've got 3 little segments for us at the top. They're not games, but they're kind of like a game for myself. So, first of all, this segment, I'd like to set the tone because, again, things look differently, and so why not set the tone and the mood for what's going on? I'd like to set a word of the day as the tone itself, and that word would be assuage, which until today I thought was a suede. Like, not a suede couch. I mean, like, I thought it was a suede. Assaude. It's not that. It's with a G. And I do have a tendency to make up words. But we were all raised by Dr. Seuss. And he's not even a real doctor. So what are you going to do about it? Assuage is a verb. And it means to make an unpleasant feeling less intense. I don't know. That really struck a chord with me. I feel like that we all need that. Here's how you could use it in a sentence. This podcast assuaged you from total fear. I don't know if that's how. I can't speak for you. Not me telling you how I'm making you feel. Oh my. Okay, so that's our word of the day. And here's our mantra. Everybody's got a mantra, right? Well, let's put the woman back in it. This is our mantra. I beg your dolly pardon. I'll say it again. I beg your dolly pardon. Yeah, that take was better, wasn't it? But now that I'm doing this with a visual, I'm not going to be able to edit some of this out. Anyway. And that is not to be confused with I'm Jane Fonda you, but keep it on the J low. Low. I love to take a name and make it into a phrase. You know, just why not? I look up to all those women, so might as well use them. I don't know if I look up to J Lo, but I appreciate what she does. So next week, we're going to be back with those 2 segments, word of the day and Woo Mantra. Those will be standard from now on, or until further notice. And then I think I'm also going to add in something. This is something I thought about and didn't have time to correspond with today, but I'm thinking that I'm going to do sincere talks and shady with a smile. So if there's anything that you're seeing in the press that you want me to talk about or you want my opinion of, or you want to feel better about, I will try my best to do sincere talks about it or treat it shady with a smile. Okay, now this segment isn't going to ever come back, but the second half of this episode has my friend Brianna on it, and we love a theme. So she's neurodivergent, self-diagnosed, but that was what the conversation was about this week. And I said, if we're going to do neurospicy, I'm going to go ahead and lean in with this ADHD AM. You get it, like 80 AM is my name, but you got to put the HD in there because I'm living in high definition, but I'm also ADHD a little. So it's ADHD AM. Let me explain it 5 more times. Or if you want to say ADH damn, whichever you prefer. So this is the alphabet kind of at random, and every single letter is going to be like, remember those little poems you would do in elementary school where you do like, A is a wonderful day in the park or whatever. It's like that. I'm giving you the alphabet. This is very Sesame Street because we're doing building blocks. It's my first time in front of a camera for the podcast, so we're starting off with the building block. You ready for the ABCs? The ABCs of ADHD. Actually, there's a story behind this. My grandmother growing up, she didn't know the acronym. She didn't know what ADHD was or ADD was. So she'd say, well, they got those ABCs, you know, speaking about some of my cousins and I, because we did a little bit. So this is a little ode to her. So A is for anti-bullying week. This is anti-bullying week. And I just find that to be very ironic given the context of what's going on. You know, no matter how you're feeling about the election cycle itself, you do have to recognize that at the end of the day, the guy's a bully, right? The guy that won the presidency and will be sworn in January, he's a bully. And the tactics that he uses. So that happening this week as anti-bullying is sort of like encouraging me to get up every day and to seek a different truth. Because I would like for Mudang to not pick the cake that Mudang picked. Mudang is psychic. We need to get rid of all the groundhogs. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, Mudang is a very famous online presence, hippo-looking thing that I don't know what type of animal it is, but they predicted the day of the election via eating a cake. They had 2 options, obviously the Harris cake or the Trump cake, and Mudang chose the Trump cake. And I'm like, why? If Mudang had picked the Harris cake, would the results be different? No, I'm just kidding. But we do need to get rid of the groundhogs, because do they ever really accurately see the shadow? Just a weird myth, isn't it? Thank you for your service. A is also for antisocial, because that's exactly how I felt all weekend. And still feel to an extent right now, even though I'm having to make direct eye contact with myself on this Zoom and act like it doesn't bother me. I wish there was a way to... Oh, I could probably turn off my camera, huh? Nope. I don't think so. I think if I turn it off, it's just going to be a picture of myself, and that's really awkward. We don't want that. So B, that's the letter we've gotten up to, in case you guys didn't know the arrangement of the alphabet. B is for books. I've decided something fun. I'm going to start writing little books during the next 4 years. I think it's really important, first of all, that it will only be 4 years of him. We don't want a dictator, right? And he's already been in power 1 time. So 2 times would be the term limit that we've predetermined after FDR. FDR did 3 terms. Correction, 4 terms. But he's the only president who did more than 2. They weren't consecutive, but we want that to be how it continues for this route as well. So anyway, during these 4 years, I think it's very important to lean into your artistry, to your voice, to your creative expression, and to really utilize those outlets for yourself, because that's mentally, socially, physically going to be activating you in a way that I think is going to help all of us get through. And art is really important in times like this, in times of, if you feel the same way I do, sorrow or depression, potentially. So everybody be creative out there. I'm not skipping to C yet. We're still on B, because I am going to be writing little comedy books. I hope to have a book done by the end of this season. I would love to have it done by Christmas, but I want it to be done well. And I have some things that are twinkling on the horizon. I'd love to know which of these you think would be something you'd read. So I want to do like little 100-page books that you can read in an afternoon kind of quickly and toss if you get bored with it or whatever. Hopefully you won't get bored. I don't know why I'm selling it so short. No, you're going to love it. It'll be so funny. We used to call those toilet books, toilet humor. You just kind of sit there and read it real quick, which is not good for your anatomy. So actually don't sit and read this like that. Go take a walk. And, well, I don't know if you can walk and read. I'm not able to do both at the same time, and I don't know who I'm kidding. Like, who do we think we are? Belle in a little town, in a quiet village, every day run over like the one before? It's not safe. Why don't you get comfortable and read? Not on the toilet. Perfect. There we go. We've determined what to do. So I've got a book that I want to write called Not So Marvelous, and I'll probably change the title. But it is hinting at all of these superhero stories that are going on. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of over them, that we've had too many of them for far too long. It's like the Western. Like, it had its time and its place, and people loved it, I guess. But then it just wore out. And I feel like the market's been so overly saturated with these superhero stories. What are we watching? I don't know how you do a different angle of it now. And it's like, oh, it's just a different planet, or it's a different species, or it's like, I don't care anymore. I want human stories. I don't want them to have a superpower. So that's how I feel personally. And because of that, I'm leaning into it with a Larry David kind of star. Larry David is the creator of Seinfeld. He's extremely sardonic and sarcastic, and honestly quite negative about anything he's around. He's inconvenienced by the minorest, most minute little things. So picture someone with that kind of disposition that is living through all of these horrors, all these terrors, all these experiences that go on in these Marvel movies. I mean, if you watch them, time travel is real, and there's all these villains that are coming in from all these other galaxies, which you may not have even believed that aliens existed in the first place. And now you're like, well, there's no question. And they have superpowers. And also, their cities are getting destroyed left, right, and center. I mean, all the time, they're just being completely decimated. And it's like, okay, so if you're in an apartment and it gets destroyed and then you have to get relocated, but at the same time, the whole city's rebuilding itself, and also the roads and the infrastructure has been destroyed, and it's like everybody's praising the superheroes, but the superheroes are part of the problem of why you don't have the tools that you need in your society and the frame. Where's that complaint? Where is that person's complaint? So I'm making it very Seinfeld, complaining, going through all of that. Anyway, that's the first one, Not So Marvelous. Second one is called Ghosted. It's a village of gays who died by being ghosted on Grindr, and they just live in this society. Ghosted. Ghosting doesn't normally refer to the supernatural. It usually means that when you're talking to somebody, whether it's a friend or it's just a relationship of some capacity, and they stop texting you back, they stop talking to you, there's no correspondence whatsoever. You don't hear from them again. It's like they died. It's like the relationship never existed. That's what ghosting is, and it happens rampantly in the gay community. You'll talk to somebody, get very excited to even meet them, and then never hear from them again. Or you'll go on 3 dates with them and then never hear from them again. And it's like you had this whirlwind romance for 2 seconds. What? So picture a society of people that have faded from the existence of society. They've been ghosted. And now they're like in a ghosted city. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. It's kind of like Stepford Wives, but it's a little less fun. And somehow a little bit even more gay. So Ghosted, Not So Marvelous. Those are the 2 so far. And then Little Cup of Joan. Now, I love Joan Rivers, and this is essentially just... I'm probably not going to say Joan Rivers throughout the book because I don't want to get sued. But it's basically a Starbucks that you get a cup of Joan, like a dose of Joan. I haven't thought out this plot as much, but I just like the idea of her kind of dragging people, if you will, and saying shady things to them while they get a little cup of coffee. Because I used to be a barista. Well, I was a barista in training. I actually wasn't a barista. But while I was a barista in training for 2 years, very embarrassing, we would have a lot of interactions with people that just were not nice. You know, people before they eat, or people that really want caffeine. They're not patient. You know, they're already there because they're in a hurry. So a lot of people were not nice, and a lot of people were very specific about their orders. And I just wish I could have dished back a little bit of what I was receiving, because everybody needs to be nicer to people that are in the service industry in general. But also, I think people that are serving you should be able to dish it back just a little bit. Like, the customer is not always right. Speaking of C, customer's not always right. Not the see you next Tuesday word. I wasn't going there with it. But if you thought that, have fun with it. So there's 3 big C's that happened this week, and we're going to get stuck on C for a moment because concurrently concussing around my little Christopher Robin noggin, these 3 things happened. COVID. I had COVID 2 weeks ago. So the episode actually came out late last week. No one called me out for it, and thank you. I only have 3 listeners right now, and that's okay. But it needs to be prepared more in advance than it was, and I admit that wrongdoing. But I had COVID, and I had total brain fog, like out the ass. It was insane. It wasn't as bad as the last time I had COVID, and this is a reminder to go get your booster shots because I don't want you to have to go through what I went through. I mean, it was a struggle bus. But the first time I had COVID, what were your symptoms? Mine, I literally could not read text messages. I'm a writer, so that was really scary for me, and I was very winded. But this time it was more of like almost like the flu symptoms, and I hesitate to relate it to the flu because a lot of people dismiss what's going on with COVID and call it that or whatever. And so I want to make sure I'm not qualifying it the same way, but it was very similar symptoms, and they are still ongoing in a bit, or for a bit. They have been. I felt winded even as recent as yesterday. Today I'm feeling almost back to normal, but my throat sounds weird. I feel very congested still. And I have allergies, so that also could be to blame for it. So COVID's been happening. We went to a concert, which is another C word, this week. And while we were at it, we witnessed somebody. I don't want to put them on blast like this, but it's a reminder to people that we need to be careful about how much we consume in terms of the libations. We need to be conscious about how many libations we're consuming, because I witnessed somebody get intoxicated to the point that they blacked out at the concert and fell and hit their head and concussed. And it was scary, and it was sad, and it was also, I know it wasn't fun for them. I mean, I would like to talk to them further about what was getting them to the place that they were at in that, or the moments that transpired before that, because it's not like they're going to remember the concert, and they did have to go to the ER after this. So I'm just saying it because I want people to be conscious and not concussed, but I also want people to be conscientious of how much you're consuming. I think it's just a good message for all of us this week. Yes. Also, speaking of sobriety, which is not, I'm not saying you need to be sober at a concert by any means. I had a drink, but my friend Ari, who was on the podcast a couple of episodes ago, has celebrated 1 year of sobriety, and we want to give a shout out to that. Now, here's the third thing. We had a clown election this week, and I'm not happy with it, and I'm not going to pretend that I'm happy with it. Anyway, that was my triple whammy. I feel like oftentimes when things are going awry, it like comes in a batch of 3. People always say that it's like 3 strikes, you're out kind of thing. I've never really been into baseball. I played it for a little bit, but I really just wanted to be the manager. I liked T-ball better. If we could do T-ball for adults where the ball's not getting thrown at you, I would like that better. That was going nowhere quick, so the rest of that ramble about T-ball was cut for time. So now we've got to D. Oh, D. Okay. D is diaper pants. And I'm not saying I didn't soil myself, and it was not a windy day today in terms of like, it wasn't like fart central over here. I'm just saying I had these pants sound rusty. Like if you've ever been around a kid, you know that noise, that squeaky noise that the diaper makes. Let me just not explain it further. This is what my pants sound like right now. Can you hear this? Oh, the production value is really giving right now, isn't it? I just knocked over my key light for this freaking video thing. Everything's way too close to me, and I'm actually sweating my ass off. So you couldn't hear the diaper noise. It's very loud, though, when I'm walking, and I'm in such a small space right now that you can't really hear it. That's just me moving my legs. I hope you could heard that. I hope you could heard that. Okay. I hope you could hear that because it's just ridiculous. So today I had to go to the pharmacy and pick up my medicine, and as I was walking in, they were doing construction, and as I had been walking to the pharmacy, I was like, wow, these pants are really loud. I'm self-conscious. I work from home, so I don't hear the movement of these pants. So as I'm walking up, I'm like, gosh, this is like really loud. I'm getting self-conscious as I'm getting closer and closer to the gate. And then when I actually entered the space, I was like, oh, so thankful that, you know, they're doing construction and it's going to be loud and they're not going to be able to hear this. No, they were on break. They were on break from the construction. And so I'm just like squeakily walking in, just taking one step at a time, closer and closer to the pharmacist. And the other conditions were great. There was not really anyone in line. There wasn't anyone really around. It was just me and this one person behind the counter who I don't think had anything better to do. They just were looking at me from the moment I stepped in to the store, to the pharmacy, all the way down until I was greeted by them. And it was a long aisle. It was many, many, many steps towards them. They don't have anything better to do. Nothing. You don't have a prescription to fill. You don't have a phone call coming in. I hear the phone ringing. Oh no, you just want to look at me and stare at me. Oh, okay. Forget the drive-through. They can wait. You've got to make eye contact with me, because they made direct eye contact with me. Oh yes, the entire time I was walking. It was awkward. It was very awkward. Making my squeaky noises, getting self-conscious, looking into my into my soul. I wish I had cut this segment for time too. Anyway, it was embarrassing. And perhaps the saddest thing about these diaper pants is they're not absorbent at all. If I peed on them right now, it would just leak all over the floor. And now we're cutting for time. We're going to go to F because I'm gainfully employed. But we're about to, dare I say it, have a president who is known for The Apprentice. And now I have a fear of firing. Another F. We'll get away from that because that sounded almost like negative or something. I had a little bit of a... You know how people have panic attacks? Mind you, this is the more positive option. Yes, I'm aware. I had a little bit of a flirt attack this weekend in which I just panicked and flirted with every single person that I could find in the Rolodex of my phone. Friends, maybe even some family members. Bad joke. I just love bombed everybody. I just really wanted everybody, first of all, to feel loved, and then I wanted it reciprocated. That's really what I was going for, is that I wanted to feel loved. And I may have even wanted to cuddle with a boy, but I don't know. It didn't happen, so it's fine. It's fine. Humbling. That could be on this list. So G is for graffiti, because I have a question. When you see graffiti, how did it get there? No, I know that sounds like a stupid question, but think about it. I was on the highway headed to the pharmacy with my diaper pants today, and I saw all this graffiti lining the whole road for a while, like several hundred yards of graffiti. And I just was thinking, like, this took a lot of time for somebody to tag and do all of this. And it's different colors. And it's like, you know, they had to bring all of these different paint sources or spray cans or whatever it is. And I could Google how it's done, and I don't really care to. But I'm just going to ask the question, at what point did that happen? At what point did that transpire? When did that person or those individuals get to the side of the road with all of their paint cans and do this? And no one saw them do it. Or I've never seen somebody do graffiti. Personally, unless they're doing it for like a mural, but like tagging and stuff like that, I've never seen somebody do that. And I'm sure that people can do it really fast, but it was several hundreds of yards of the graffiti. It wasn't fast. It just wasn't. So I'm not really grasping how that was. It's impressive to me. It's very ballsy that somebody did that. I think it's very bold that somebody did that. It's also very ugly. I mean, if we're going to work on bubble font, like I was obsessed with bubble font when I was in middle school, but maybe let's work on our penmanship a little bit, huh? Because I don't know even what the graffiti was supposed to say. And that would be shady with a smile if I had that segment. But that's not till next week. Anyway, so also, I don't know if you're excited about this. I'm very excited about both movies, actually. So we have a double whammy coming up. Gladiator and Wicked are coming out this Thanksgiving. And that's not a plug for either of them because I am not being endorsed. COVID. But when we had Oppenheimer, see, that was a COVID cough. You're welcome. When we had Oppenheimer and Barbie, we called it Barbenheimer. And I thought that was so great. And this feels very similar to that, in that it's kind of like a very macho movie and a very traditionally seen as feminine-leaning film. I'm not trying to be sexist with it, but they're very different in the lanes that they're in the same way that Oppenheimer was about damn bombs and Barbie was about a damn doll. I would like to know, what is it going to be called? I came up with some names, and tell me if you like any of these. Gladed, Wicked 2, because it's Gladiator 2, technically. What about Wicked Dater? I don't like any of these. I can see why it hasn't caught on yet. But if we workshop it together, guys, we can get to something, and then we could do some branding, and then we can get the whole thing going. I think it's time for us to make some money. See, fear of failure. Fear of, what was it? I already forgot what I had said. COVID brain. CB, I call that CB, COVID brain. A little bit of CB there for you. Fear of firing. That's what it was. Yes. Okay, I'm going to skip to J for jealous. Yes. I have experienced jealousy this past week. I went to a separate concert. I went to 2 concerts this week. And that's the whole story. Actually, I'm only doing J for jealous because I want you to be jealous that I'm out here and I'm really living my best life. And that my best life includes a concert. And that you weren't at those concerts, either one of them. Yeah, I'm out here just like at concerts with concussions. Oh, that is not a good segue. Let's get back to the actual story because there is more. And I've noticed that because I work from home, this is something I actually really need to work on. So this is good that I'm bringing it up. I have a tendency to really put a lot of pressure into the person that I'm with when I'm spending time with them in terms of the attention that we're giving to each other. I have very strong love languages of time spent with each other and physical touch, honestly. I don't really care so much about gifts. Like, who doesn't love all the languages? It's fine. I don't really need words of affirmation, but if we're spending time together, I want to feel connected with you. I want to feel like we're really spending that time together and it's not just we're present in the same physical space, but not linked. Does that make sense? Because the concert that I went to, it felt like there were 3 of us, right? And the third person was me. I was the third wheel, is what it felt like. And I'm very close with one of these people. And I was thinking that we were going to spend more time talking during it, but I felt like a lot of the energy went into the 2 of them and not into me. And I felt a little bit ignored, and I'm also a little bit hard of hearing. So when we were watching the concert, there wasn't anything being said to me. And if I tried to lean in and like hear what they were talking about, I couldn't hear it at all. So what I'm admitting is that J is for jealous because I was a jealous little jelly bean last week. And I have to work on telling people up front, this is sort of like my expectation of the night. I don't want to like set parameters on it. Take 2. If I'm feeling left out, I just need to express to the people, hey, I'm feeling left out. Or, hey, include me more. It's simple. It's really simple. It's okay to communicate. It's actually important that we communicate. No one can read our minds, right? And if this isn't something you can relate to, then just back off, okay? Because I had to actually really work through this. I often feel like when I'm with people, if I'm not entertaining them, I'm a problem. So I feel like if I express to anyone any inconvenience of myself, it's an issue for everyone and it ruins the night and it's a bad takeaway. Instead of speaking up for myself, I just let myself feel worse and worse and worse and almost get doormatted. And that's something I need to work on, genuinely. Because no one that's going out with me has that as their intention. And they can't read my mind. Hello. The only person that suffers in that scenario is me by not expressing it. Could have had a better night and didn't because of myself. I let myself get in the way. Oh, look at me working through this. You just witnessed a real breakthrough, as they would say in therapy. I'm not a therapist. Don't qualify anything I say as that. More C words for you. Communicate and change. Huh. Okay, actually, let's go back to C for a second because I just thought of another C. There's more on the video format if you want to hear more of this sort of like ramble, spelling thing that I did, but it's cut for time. Because the C word I'm going to give you in finality is commercial break. Here's some words from my mother and father. And then we'll be back with Brianna, which isn't the B word for the day. But Brianna is, anyway, just get to the break.
Hey everybody, this is Linda LaFay and I've always got something to say. And today's topic is about homonyms, antonyms, and synonyms. And if you didn't remember your 2nd grade teacher or your 3rd grade teacher talking about this subject, it is obvious to me, and this is my pet peeve. Homonyms are words that sound alike, but they mean something different and they are spelled differently. And if you misuse these homonyms, these words that have different meanings, or you spell the wrong word, that also means you have used the wrong word when you are writing something, even if it is a text message, especially an email, that makes you look as though you are not understanding something that a 3rd grader might understand. And forgive me, it might sound like I am bashing you, but yeah, I kind of am. THERE and THEIR are 2 different words. Let me say to, T-O, and to, T-O-O, and T-W-O. There are 3 words. They all mean something different. Shall I go on? An anonym is an opposite. I don't think you have much struggle with that one. But synonyms, those are words that you can think of that have the same meaning, but you're choosing a different word. So in order to up your game in the written word, and yes, I am mostly speaking about an email, maybe when you go back through it, because I certainly hope you do, go back through it and read a little bit before you hit the send button, that maybe if you are using the same word multiple times, maybe even in the same sentence, but certainly in the sentence prior, you will go to your edit or your thesaurus. Do you know that word, thesaurus? And look up a synonym if you cannot think of one on your own, because you want to expand your vocabulary. And yes, I'm from the South, and I don't have this extended, intense vocabulary. I might be an old lady, but I am trying to better myself, and baby, I'm trying to better you. So just think about it a little bit, how you are presenting yourself in the written word. Just try a little harder, baby, and present yourself in the best light. You're welcome.
I thought that was a very fitting one, and so did Mom, because of the educational thing that's kind of running through this in terms of, like, I gave the ABCs and then Mom's giving the homonyms, and it's all in due part because, as she said, our second grade teachers, and we need to give more support to the Board of Education, which Trump is alluding to erasing. Okay, I'm not fine with it, she's not fine with it, so that was our topics. Anyway, here's my dad.
Hey, Adam, what has 5 toes and isn't your foot? My foot.
So what I think he's saying is that Mom and I chose language to talk about in terms of the Board of Education issue, and he decided to focus on math. Because to count to 5, you got to do your numbers. Okay, here's the topic at hand with Brianna. Enjoy. And we're back. Okay, so I want to know, this is a reoccurring segment I always do with everyone, and I don't know if it's even usable, but I like the idea of when you're in a conversation and you want to get away from it, you want to exit from it, what is the noise that plays in your head? For me, it's like a phone hanging up. What is it for you?
In my head, respectfully, okay, bye!
What I love is that in this moment there's a garbage truck outside and it's making a lot of racket and doing like a beep, beep, beep out of our own conversation as
Absolutely.
we're having this conversation. Wait, so do it again?
Okay, bye!
Okay, bye! Wait, I can't even get my voice up that high. See, not a singer. Told you.
Oh.
Told you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm in the wrong key. I gotta do it down an octave. Okay, bye.
Oh.
Aren't people so annoying? You're like, yeah, you sitting across from me right now. I'm just kidding.
Well, the people pleaser in me always like hung tight and stayed for hours. And even when you were just desperate to leave.
Yeah, that's not good.
No.
No, less of that energy. Reclaim your time.
Power's back. And now
Power's back.
Now you hear garbage
There you go.
trucks.
Now you hear garbage trucks and you're like, amazing. I guess I'm on the right path? Question mark?
Yes.
Yeah. No, how long did you feel like you were a people pleaser for? Were you aware of that from the beginning?
I didn't know that I was doing it until a couple of years ago. It was brought to my attention via TikTok.
You had a lot of discoveries
lot
through
of
TikTok. We're going to
awakenings.
unpack this.
Through TikTok. I didn't know that if you have to kind of keep yourself small when you're little and there's a lot of chaos around, that you just want people's acceptance and, oh, I can do that for you, or absolutely, yes, I can do that. Love me. I'm a quiet, good girl. So, yeah, I didn't know that I did that until a couple years ago, and now it's like a constant learning experience.
The thing about being a people pleaser, though, is that if you organically don't want to do that, it's great to take steps towards not doing it, but you have
Yes.
to be really calm and not calm. That's easier said than done. Be calm. No, you have to really be gracious with yourself.
Yes.
Because if you feel like it's a habit that you need to break, any habit that you need to break, it's going to take a while to figure that out.
Yeah.
You know? And like, of course everyone around you is going to love that you people please. It's like, you know, you're only hurting yourself if you don't want to do that.
I know. It's great to have an awareness of it. I'm grateful that I came to the conclusion. Now I can kind of be more confident in not using exclamation points after
Oh
every text
gosh,
message.
email is hard.
Ugh.
I feel like texting's one thing, emailing is way worse. Like when I'm emailing a boss, I'm like, I can't sound snarky, can't sound petty. Do you feel that?
I just feel like I'm always, you got it! Exclamation
Like
point.
almost
Oh,
overcompensating?
just like Mickey Mouse. Like,
Yeah, oh
it's
gosh.
okay not to exclamation point. Like,
Yeah, you don't have to exclaim anything.
And I feel like I'm being rude with just a period.
And you're not.
I know.
Like no one else is thinking that. It's
I
so
know.
interesting.
And then
Unless you put K.
Oh my god.
That is aggressive.
Oh, it's too much.
That has to be obliterated from the English language.
Oh, it just is like a dagger.
It's terrible.
Oh, are you
Who does
mad
that?
at me?
Yeah, oh, that's not good. Those people need help more than a people pleaser. So let's talk about some of these things that you've like developed in your like understanding of yourself,
Mhm.
things that you've come to understand because of TikTok. There's so much bad flack out there because of TikTok, but I think there's been a
True.
lot of good that's come from it.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
connectivity of community
Yes,
and
absolutely.
the broadening of understanding of ourselves. And for you, it seems like the latter of that for sure.
Absolutely.
So I would love to dive into that. We've already unpacked one thing. What are some other things you've
Yeah.
learned from TikTok?
Well, I definitely found out that I have ADHD or autism ADHD.
So it's both. It's like autism, ADHD, somewhere in there.
I'm not sure if there's a difference. For me, it's one or the t'other or both.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Well, no one has to check a box.
sure.
You know what I mean? There's no
Nobody's
pressure
checking?
for you to be like, this is everything that's going on. It's subject to change, obviously.
Yeah.
We're just talking.
Yeah. So I definitely came to that conclusion. It was very helpful for me to understand that I'm not completely out alone in the ethers, going through all of this isolated thinking and rumination and anxiety, and you can't absorb materials that you're not interested in, and this is why you couldn't learn in school.
Did you struggle in school?
Very much. If I wasn't interested.
Okay.
Like math, woo!
I didn't love math.
I couldn't absorb it, and my teacher was very, very cruel.
Oh, my.
Very cruel. Like, the Matilda character,
Oh, you feel like Miss
Well,
Trunchbull was up in your space?
the chocolate cake, it was horrible.
She
was
made you eat
hor-
chocolate cake or metaphor?
Metaphorical.
Okay, yeah.
There was not a lot of understanding of how kids don't all learn the same way.
What grade was that?
I think it was 4th or 5th grade.
Oh, so a very fundamental year in terms of if
Yeah.
you're going to like this or not.
Yeah, it was, but yeah, I prayed for fire alarms and, yeah, I just checked out, and I knew, like, during Roman numerals, I said to myself, I'm not learning this.
Well, you kind of don't need to. At what point does that ever come up other than the Olympics?
Like, sequels
You know,
of movies.
Yeah. Oh, please. If they have to have Roman numerals for a film, they need to cut it
many.
short.
Ugh.
Time
yeah.
to let it go. Avenge me from this. I can't.
Yeah, horrible.
What a marvelous idea. Stop it.
But I always did really well in art.
Oh, of course.
That was it.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah.
that could not have just been it. I'm sure you did well at history.
I guess the writing part,
And then anything English related, because that is the language we speak. But like, did you do well in literature?
comprehension, I couldn't absorb it.
Interesting.
Like, when that stress before you're called on to read the paragraph, you always forget what the person before you was saying. That was like my whole.
Did you have performance anxiety then? And
Oh
that,
my god.
yeah.
Don't. What's the being seen thing? Don't observe me. What is the
Yeah,
thing?
yeah. Don't observe me. Don't make me
With-
perform for you. I'm not
I
dance
can't.
monkey dance.
To be
Like,
seen. I've been under the radar my whole life
Yeah.
because I got bullied and like just trying to stay safe and protected. So I just like I kept small. So please don't call on me. Don't make me stand in front of the classroom.
well,
and
that
then-
leads into the people pleasing for
My
sure.
goodness, yeah. And then Columbine happened, and we moved to Colorado that
Oh
year
no! Why?
to
Was that planned before that or after
yeah,
that?
we
Okay.
were there when it happened. It was
Oh, you were
so
there when it
scary.
happened?
Not at Columbine, but like in
Yeah,
Colorado.
but like I was about to say, this podcast just turned into something totally
Left-
different.
jerk the wheel. So I already had trauma youth and like hypervigilance already and anxiety. So then to go into a new school in Colorado during that time, I was just scared all the time, trying not to make waves or be seen. And
That's rough. I'm sorry.
oh, nothing compares to, what those.
Yeah, but you can't diminish what you went through. You know what I mean? Like,
Scary.
you don't have to people please this moment. It's just you and I talking. So what else have you, because I know we've talked separately about a couple of things on TikTok. I mean, people pleasing is definitely one. We've talked about this ADHD. Is that how you say it?
It's the hashtag. I don't.
Yeah, the hashtag ADHD. So tell me, being late diagnosed or diagnosing yourself later in life, we're not old by any means, but like, you went through all of those growing stages. Your brain is fully developed by now because it allegedly stops at, 27, 28. Saturn returns and all of that. But like now you're here where you've arrived a little bit later, discovering these things. Was that eye-opening for you, or was that like, damn, I wish I had known this earlier?
Oh, I felt a huge sense of grief. Like, I think I went through the stages of loss of little me, what could have been if people would have known or recognized, but I don't think it was a very big thing back then. Like, there were a couple boys that were just busybodies that had ADHD, and that's like how you equated.
Yeah, we associated it as one thing when it's
Yeah.
multiple. There's different ways to
Yeah.
view it. It's a spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So they didn't recognize. So there's a little bit of understanding, but it was a big loss. Like, what could have been if someone would have taken the time
Yeah.
to notice. Would have saved me a lot of heartache, and maybe I could have learned a little bit better.
Does it make you want to do schooling again? Like, do a new schooling, a different kind of avenue for yourself? Or are you like, I'm over school? Like,
I hated school, so.
no, I didn't mean go back to grade school. I meant
No.
like a collegiate level. Like, is there anything you're like, now I would like to learn knowing this information about myself and how I learn?
Oh, well, I definitely learn as much as I can about different things that I'm experiencing, but no, definitely no going back. No Billy Madison for me.
No Billy Madison.
That's okay.
What a good reference.
Oh, yeah. But I'm at School of Life for sure.
Now that you know this, like, what are you experiencing that you wish you had known back then?
The horrible thoughts, the rumination of like,
Oh, the cyclical, like, over and over. I've had a negative thought, like I'm going to push someone in front of a train kind of thing.
well, I'm going to get pushed in front of a train.
Oh, okay.
Or
We were having the same thought different ways. Gosh, what a nightmare.
I think maybe that's OCD, but
Yeah,
I have.
but I think we both do.
I've been diagnosed with that. There was a definite hypervigilance of, like, someone's gonna get me constantly.
Someone's going to get me.
Yeah. Well, I'm small also.
You mean physically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like.
Maybe let's not watch any scary documentaries.
Not anymore.
Not
I
anymore.
was obsessed with
I bet.
Dateline. Ooh, you don't need that.
You don't need that
You
in
don't
your
need
life.
that when
You're
you're
asking for
worried.
trauma as the you're just traumatizing yourself.
Don't do it. So.
Jamie Lee cut a bitch.
I feel that now. I feel like I got my power. So.
Yeah, good.
But meditation has really helped with a lot of anxiety, and it sounds funny, but I found like a little community of tarot people that I really like.
Oh, see, you're really on the witchy stuff. I like that. I will say already, I'm very excited by how proactive you've been.
Oh man.
Because you've talked about, you had trauma experiences and that this was a difficult learning journey for you, and that you
Yes.
had a huge, like, I don't want to say huge or small. It was a grief process.
Yeah.
What was the grief process that you went through?
Well, it was also a sobriety thing, so not drinking anymore, and kind of all of these things kind of illuminated, and I could understand what I've been through and what I need to go through, and you're not alone. There's great communities and support that really help, and it's just self-discovery and self-awareness, and it's been wonderful.
You're totally on the other side of it then.
I am. Well, it's remembering your inner child, and that she would feel safe with you now, and that there's no shame and she's good. She's back, because for so long I kind of like repressed and protected myself. Just she was in there, just very
Oh, we all do that.
buried.
And you can't ignore.
No,
She'll start screaming.
she did.
Did that lead to you needing to get sober? Is that where that took you down that pathway?
Man, I coped. My coping mechanism was alcohol, and I had so much anxiety and things that I didn't deal with. So much like loss and heaviness that I carried every day, never thought I could get rid of. And alcohol. You come home, you drink till, I don't know.
Unwind.
Yeah.
It's such a fabric of society, and it's pushed down
Absolutely.
our throats every show you watch.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. I love that there's more like alcohol-free stuff and alternatives. And
I don't even like a mocktail, though,
no,
honestly.
no.
I'm really proud of you that you were able to check that and
Yeah.
see that and make a change.
I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
So that was your coping mechanism for so long. What made you do the change for that? Like, how did you get away from that cycle?
Physically, I couldn't. It was escalating my anxiety so much.
So you were using the drink as a coping mechanism, but it was actually fueling the anxiety.
Fueling, like definitely exacerbating it, and I couldn't anymore. And then I stopped for like a week, and like, oh, maybe I'll try, I'll just have a beer. And then it just like, no, dude, you can't. So I feel like the universe is just,
Were you able to just do the beer that one time?
yeah, and then I had to stop.
Oh, okay. So that's good. You didn't go down a shame spiral.
No, I definitely regretted it, but
But not in the way that, like, you made you drink and drink. You didn't go on a
no,
binge.
no.
That's good.
Yeah. So yeah, that just kind of, thank goodness it wasn't super terrible walking away from it. I mean, you think about it a lot. I still think about it, but
Oh, you still play it in your head, like, I could do that?
I miss it.
You do.
I miss the relief. I feel like I haven't had physical relief in.
Are you comfortable disclosing how long it's been since you stopped?
I think it's like 2.5 years.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a significant chunk of time.
Yeah. It's so much better. And I'm learning new coping mechanisms. It's just the physical relief.
Sounds like your new coping mechanisms are like meditation, or are they something else?
Yeah.
Are they like pot?
No, I can't. It gives me
Gives me anxiety.
vertigo.
Oh, it gives you vertigo.
Yeah, I have like horrible reactions to it.
Oh, no.
Believe me, I've
Then
tried.
maybe it's the synesthesia.
Maybe it's.
I'm joking. We're not going to say that.
It's the colors. It's the colors.
So synesthesia, we played a game earlier because she talked some on her TikTok about that she does experience and witness synesthesia. And it is a neurological condition that causes you to sense something involuntarily, almost. So it's like if I was to say a smell, you'd see a color involved with it. Or if you heard a piece of music, you'd taste something. Or you might, if I say the word summer, for example, she was saying she tasted chlorine. Others might taste chocolate or iced tea or something. Well, I think we all experience it to a degree, but Billie Eilish and Charlie XCX specifically write music in the key of a color. Like, she'll say this song is very red or this song is very yellow or something like that. Anyway, so that was the reference. We didn't include the game in this because we've reformatted the show.
Just grateful to be here and have the support that I've had, especially from my family. Doesn't really understand. My family as a whole is kind of like a drinking family.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, and it's like, oh, I didn't know she had a problem.
Oh, your family?
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't. I would. Did it at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always think that when something is a coping mechanism, especially, but if something is used as a blanket, you're not going to see it so much in public. It's what we do by ourselves.
Yeah, and I'm a very good masker. Well, I figured out very young what people need from me to love me or like me and to be accepted. So I know I can kind of read what that person might need from me and just provide that,
Yeah.
you know.
You're good at getting from point A to point B, and this leads into, honestly, people pleasing
Yeah, absolutely.
and putting yourself not first.
Yeah, I had a breakdown after
A job?
the job that we worked at,
Yes.
and I had a huge burnout, mental breakdown, and then that's
Oh, I'm so sorry.
where the alcohol like got really bad, and then it just kind of, that was my bottom. And I actually was looking for help one night in the middle of the night, Googling, and I found a trauma therapist. I reached out. I didn't know if it would work. I didn't have a lot of money, and she worked with me with scale, and I paid her with artwork, and she changed my life.
Oh, she was able to do a rate. She didn't have like a fixed
Yeah, well, she
price,
did,
but then she scaled it for you.
she did, yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it's releasing the trauma from your body.
Did you do like a rebirthing or anything like that, or what how did you
No.
go about that?
It's kind of like she gives you tools to, like, when a big emotion comes up, you can work through it by doing certain things.
Would you be comfortable saying
Okay.
one or two of the tools that you use if you're feeling overwhelmed in that way?
Well, pressure points, but yeah, it like EMDR, tapping.
Yeah, you're tapping. Currently, she's tapping her
Right and left.
shoulders. She was doing that, and I was trying to figure out what that was.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And then you can rub your hands together and
I do that.
put them over your eyes. Another great one, if you're having like a lot of anxiety, you can put a cold drink or ice pack on your chest.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's just to bring your cortisol down and kind of center. Oh, you can look right and left. That's a really good one.
Oh, I like that. I feel like an owl.
Yeah, woo.
Hoo, hoot, hoot. It's a hoot.
It's a hooter. Just things to bring you out of what you're experiencing physically and mentally.
Stop having that fight or flight response and get
Yes.
grounded with yourself. Is that the goal
Yes.
from these tools and these
Yes.
techniques?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Somatic therapy.
Somatic therapy.
Yes, changed my life.
What does somatic mean?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I probably didn't comprehend it.
No. Let me Google it real quick because I want to add that in there. A somatic therapist helps people release damaging pent-up emotions in their body by using various mind-body techniques. These can vary widely, ranging from acupressure to hypnosis to breathwork and dance. So it's exactly what we've been talking about. Yeah. There's a new word for us to use today.
Somatic.
Somatic. That's amazing. I just want to uplift the fact that you've been doing all of this understanding of yourself.
Mm.
You've been doing the work on yourself, and none of that is an easy feat. You're saying it so easily and briskly, and I don't want to pass over the fact that there was a journey there,
Mm-hmm.
and it took time,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a continued journey, but it seems like you're in such a good place with it, and I'm really
Yeah.
proud of that,
Thank you.
because that is a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. It's a practice, and it's easy to backslide
Totally.
into your dark thoughts. I call her Deborah.
Oh, you've named her.
I do. It helps to put a name to this person because it's not you. You are not all of your thoughts.
You're not all of your thoughts. That's important. That is key.
Yeah, like you should be on my side. Why are you so mean to me? But as I've become lighter and let more light in, Deborah takes kind of a back seat. And I am grateful for that.
What a delight.
You are a beam of light, a lightning bug.
Ooh, a lightning bug.
Yes!
Don't make me light my butt. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this new format. And if you didn't,
Okay, bye!
no, but seriously, let us know what you thought. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, screenshot, share it on your socials, do all the things. Come on. I got to spread the news. I'm trying to add to these numbers because just like Dad said, you may have 5 toes, but it's better to have 10. He didn't say that directly, but that was subtext. Okay. So let's multiply. Let's times 2 these followers. Join the cult. Join the cult. And that's ironic because remember, it's anti-bullying week and a clown is now going to be in office. So anyway, let's make a cult ourselves. Bye. And speaking of fired, you know Chris Cappuccino is my producer. Also, can I get a little praise because I made an ADHD episode intentionally. That was the whole theme. And it's the shortest episode I've had. Like, it's the most on topic one I've had. Maybe not the most on topic, but it's the shortest. Okay, so you're welcome. I'm going to get it in here. You've got 55 minute rebranding. No, that's not as catchy.